Welcome back, everybody. Today we're here to talk about The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 22, the season finale of Season 10 in the Here's Negan episode. This episode was amazing. Not only is it, I think, one of the best episodes of the extra 6 episodes. I mean, it is the best episode of the extra 6 episodes, but not only is it, the best episode out of that, but I think it may be one of the best episodes in Walking Dead history. I know that's a pretty maybe bold statement because there's been so many episodes. Obviously, I have to revisit episodes, but I can tell you for sure that this is hands down an awesome episode. We learned so much about Negan's backstory in this episode, and not only that, but the way they told the story is what I really liked. There were so many awesome scenes in the episode. It also set up season 11, which we will talk a little bit about in this review as well. I'm also going to be making like a season 11 video and talking about some things that we might be able to expect to happen. And then, yeah, obviously general spoiler warning, as we are going to be, breaking down this episode. Check out the episode and come back to this review. Let me know what did you think about it. And then also, if you are a fan of The Walking Dead, be sure to hit the subscribe button because we have a lot of Walking Dead content coming up still. Fear the Walking Dead is returning. And then we also have season 11 in the summer. So lots of Walking Dead content still coming up. So be sure to subscribe if you're a fan. But yeah, let's get into the video. All right, so the opening minutes, I already talked about that. Carol took Negan out, just to ease up the tension that's going on in Alexandria between Maggie and him. And then he goes into his cabin and he starts hallucinating himself. Trying to convince him to go back to the way he was. And I think this episode also was a big, turn in who he is, because we have seen him, they have been doing a redemption arc for a while now, and he's doing little things here and there that, sort of tells us that he changed. But this episode, I think, really showed that, especially with the end, and when he burned Lucille at the very end there. I think that was like a big moment where, and he goes back to Alexandria. Like, that's a big, a change in his character. But he starts hallucinating his old self, and that's when we get the flashbacks. And also him going to that area where he fought Rick. I have to say, seeing that Rick scene, that Rick and Negan battle, that final moment, it was super cool. Was it necessary to add it in there? I don't know. I mean, probably not. I think just hearing it would be enough, but adding it in was cool, so I'm not complaining. But anyway, so they do get, we go back 12 years, and this 12 years thing always sort of stumps me. I've talked about it a couple times in the past, so I'm not going to talk about it too much, but I don't know. I'm missing something, with the timeline. I always thought it was like 10 years, but apparently it's been 12 years since the apocalypse started. But yeah, so seeing Negan go around and kind of do things on his own, like scavenging, yeah, it was super odd to see that because we're just so used to seeing the saviors do everything for him. And yeah, it was just super, awkward and almost, seeing him move around the way he did, hiding behind trees and scavenging. Like, we just don't really see that ever from Negan. So that was kind of interesting to see. So we saw Negan meet Franklin, who helped him out. And then Laura too. And it was such a surprise to see Laura there. And it was honestly really cool to also see her because, it kind of shows us how far back they go. And even that Laura was the one who gave Negan the bat, which, eventually became Lucille in the future. That was kind of cool to see that. We also had that group of villains, which we will talk about more towards the end. But man, that final, few scenes there at the end there when he goes back to take revenge on those guys, that was something. But anyways, I want to talk about the Negan and Lucille stuff now. So, yeah, those scenes were pretty heartbreaking. I mean, they have great chemistry, obviously. They're married in real life. But yeah, it was, heartbreaking to see what happened to her at the end there. And also, I think because as fans, we already sort of knew what was going to happen because they have talked about in the past that something happened to Lucille. So we were like essentially watching their final moments together. So that also, was pretty hard to see. But we went back also, probably very early into the apocalypse, or very early before the apocalypse. And when they had that transition to essentially like modern civilization before the apocalypse, that was something we've never really seen before. And when they started playing the AC/DC song, yeah, that was that kind of caught me off guard, and it was kind of funny too. I'm not gonna lie, when Lucille goes downstairs and Negan is playing video games, like that is such a Negan thing to do, and he's like, talking crap to the people on the other end on multiplayer. It's such a Negan thing to do that, I couldn't help but find that extremely funny. But that's what I mean. Like, we learned so much, and they really fleshed out this story really, really well, for a 1 hour episode. And, it was even those scenes which took place before the apocalypse. It was also really sad to see that, to learn that Negan was being unfaithful, and to learn of Lucille's cancer diagnosis, and Negan, and then when they cut back and they were in each other's arms crying, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's a pretty rough and tough episode emotionally for these characters. And then when it comes to their performances, I also want to talk about that because, yeah, I mean, this is, I think, one of the best acting episodes we've had on this show. I mean, from both parties, both Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Hilary Burton were both really amazing in this episode. And when it comes to, Negan, we saw like every emotion from him in this episode. Negan was scared, he was sad, he was funny, and then at the very end, when he became Negan, he was terrifying again. So he really went on like a roller coaster of emotions in this episode, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan nailed it for all of them. And the episode had really great drama, which is, something we don't usually say for this show. I mean, even though this show is really about the characters, and there are definitely a lot of dramatic moments and, stuff like that between the characters. But for this episode, I think the drama really shined. And again, especially with those scenes before the apocalypse, where we learn about the diagnosis and everything like that. Sort of seeing their relationship on the rocks, and again, learning about Negan's unfaithfulness, stuff like that is what made it a good drama. And it's one of those episodes that really had my eyes glued to the screen the entire time. One of these rare episodes, not just like, again, for the extra 6 episodes, but one of these episodes that literally has you glued to the screen the entire time. And I love this show, and there's a lot of amazing episodes, but there's very few episodes that have that ability, I think, where you're not like, where you can't even like take your eyes off the screen because like every scene is that good. And I usually write down notes while watching the episode. And I feel like I'm probably going to miss some stuff in this review because that's how much I was into the episode. Like, for a while, I was like kind of even forgetting to take notes because I was like, this is just really great television. But yeah, even I think the ways they were filming some of the scenes really helped out. Like, especially when, we had that scene of Negan slowly opening the door and we started hearing Lucille, like the growls from, her becoming a walker. Stuff like that really dramatized the episode in a way that actually worked, for what they were going. So there was, I thought it was a really well made episode. And then now I think we can talk about that ending when he became or like not the very end. We'll talk about that as well. But that ending when he's, became Negan again. So he went back to that group of people who tied him up. And because of that, he didn't get back to Lucille in time. And he just went, berserk. Like, he went full Negan. I mean, not even full Negan. Like, we've never even seen Negan like that on The Walking Dead. Because, again, he does, like, maybe 1, or 2 kills. But other than that, all the saviors do, his stuff for him. So we've never really even seen Negan like that before. So that was, totally different. But even that, it was kind of scary to see him like that. And, the way they filmed that, it kind of reminded me, if you guys watch Breaking Bad, that final episode of Breaking Bad. I don't want to spoil it, so I'm not gonna say anything. But if you've seen Breaking Bad, you know what I mean when I say that final episode. But it kind of reminded me a little of that. But yeah, that was a really good scene. And then he started explaining everything to that guy who he tied up then. And I feel like him sitting there explaining everything only really works because it's Negan. Like, I feel like, we don't, you shouldn't really do that on TVs and movies, like just sit there and explain everything and tell a story. But I feel like it works because that's sort of Negan's thing. And did anyone else, when Negan said he saw red, did anyone else sort of think of Morgan? I don't know. I sort of thought of Morgan when he said that because Morgan also has said that in the past, I believe. But yeah, we saw, Negan fully become Negan, and then at the very end there, he burnt Lucille. This is back in present day stuff. So he burnt Lucille, and I think that was sort of symbolic of him moving on, and he goes back to Alexandria. And in that final scene when him and Maggie are sort of staring down at each other, I mean, I don't know why Negan was smiling. I was like, I feel like maybe he should have, I thought he would have come there and apologized or something, but no. Like, he just sort of like stands his ground and sort of like a, deal with it attitude. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that was quite something. It's a big setup for season 11, I think. And again, I'm going to make a season 11 video, so, I'll talk more about that scene there. But overall, amazing episode. I think one of the best episodes, possibly for the entire show. Again, there's like over 100 episodes, so it's hard to say that for certain, but it's definitely up there. It's one of the best episodes, I think, in my opinion. You guys let me know in the comments down below, what did you think about the episode? I'm definitely interested in hearing your thoughts and opinions. But as far as this video goes, I am going to wrap it up there, so hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, be sure to leave a like rating. Again, be sure to stay tuned for more Walking Dead videos by hitting that subscribe button. And as always, thanks for watching, please take care, and I'll see you guys soon.